Welcome back to the Las Vegas Urban League WIC Culture Club podcast. I'm your host today, Semaj Bruce, IBCOC and Breastfeeding Program and Peer Counselor Program Coordinator. And today we have a special episode for you. We're talking all things dairy with the Dairy Council of Nevada. Whether you're a fan of milk, cheese, or just curious about the Dairy Council of Nevada, this episode will give you an insider's look at who they are and how they do, and what they do and how what they do plays a role in our lives. So joining me today are Delancey Prince, RDN, LD, the Nutrition Communications and Project Manager, and Mara D. Kramer, RDN, LD, Nutrition Services and Community Outreach Manager of the Dairy Council of Nevada. Delancey and Mara, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Awesome.
Thank
So we're
you.
excited to learn more about what the Dairy Council of Nevada is all about. To start, could you tell us about who the Dairy Council of Nevada is and what the Dairy Council of Nevada does as an organization?
Absolutely. Dairy Council of Nevada is a nonprofit nutrition education program supported by both Nevada and Arizona to promote achievement of optimal health for the community. So we provide nutrition education based on the latest scientific research and the concept of a balanced diet that includes milk and milk products. I would also say that we really make it a priority to share American farmers' stories, and we want the public to know about and take an interest in where their food comes from. We are entirely funded by dairy farmers. We are entirely run by licensed registered dietitians. And I also want to make a note that the Dairy Council of Nevada is also a daughter organization of the much larger National Dairy Council, or NDC as some people like to call it. And NDC has been around for over 100 years. It was founded in 1915 by dairy farmers and dairy processors. And up on the national level, NDC is also a team of registered dietitians. They also have nutrition scientists and communicators, and their job is to continuously research everything there is to know about dairy products and report those findings to the public, which then is going to trickle down to what we do here on the state level, which is take those messages and really tailor it to the unique communities here in Nevada. So I would say because of the nutritional benefits of cow's milk that we have found, its potential to aid in growth and development, we spend a lot of our time focused on youth wellness, but we do also interact both nationally and locally with a bunch of other groups too, like health professionals, culinary professionals, and even in the hunger relief sector as well.
So thank you. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So as you know, the Las Vegas Urban League is an affiliated agency with WIC. And I'd like for you to share with us a little bit about how the council came to work and collaborate with the WIC agency.
Yeah, so National Dairy Council, as Delancey mentioned, is a research council, and they collaborate with a variety of health professional and thought leader organizations, and they share the latest research on the nutritional and health benefits of dairy products. In fact, National Dairy Council is a proud partner of National WIC Association, and so their partnerships and resources provide the pathways to local dairy councils to collaborate and share all of the resources that they have to other local organizations. And every local dairy council is a little different in the way that they collaborate with health professional organizations. But for the Dairy Council of Nevada specifically, we do have a variety of resources available for our partners. And those can look like staff and services that are tailored to the organization's goals and their clientele profile. We also participate in the Reach Out and Rate program, which is endorsed by the American Academy of Pediatrics. And they try to enhance literacy among kids. And we do that by providing kids reading books for waiting offices that are dairy themed. We also have a quarterly newsletter where we share the latest research on dairy. We provide continuing education and CEU credit opportunities, and also share our most recent tools and materials that health professionals can use for their clients or patients. And finally, we have a variety of patient resources that are both in English and Spanish. And this can look like any topics on life stages, specific nutrients, sports nutrition, chronic diseases. In fact, we have created resources addressing the nutrition education needs of WIC moms through the lens of dairy, which you can always find on our website. But Going back to the question, we have had the opportunity to collaborate with two local WIC offices here in Las Vegas, and we have done that by providing two in-services for WIC nutritionists and staff. One was done virtually and one was done in person. We have also shared our nutrition resources, handouts, and posters for clients, but also helpful tools for WIC staff. And I also want to mention that we are always open to requests from our partners, especially if we don't have a resource quite like that readily available. And yeah, we look forward to continuing this great partnership with WIC, and want to let everybody know that is listening that if you are interested in any of these services, feel free to reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to discuss them.
That's so amazing. We hope to have an in-service with you guys soon too. So it's really cool to hear how it all started. Thank you for sharing that. Would you tell us more about the free services you offer?
Yeah, so as Mara mentioned, Mara went in depth about how we provide services to health professionals and clinics, specifically WIC clinics. If you're more so a family on the patient client side, specifically new and or expecting parents, we would recommend checking out nevadamilk.com. That's our website. You can find us over there. You can also find us on social media at Nevada Milk on Instagram, TikTok, and or Facebook. And what we can do is provide families with a library of evidence-based, science-backed, free resources on how to optimize nutrition for their child. For example, there's been a lot of recent research on dairy's impact on the first 1,000 days of life. So that's from conception to about age 2. How dairy can help support immunity as well as healthy brain and bone development. But we also have information for every life stage. As your child ages up into adolescence, they become a teenager and beyond, dairy can play a role really every step of the way. And we recognize that nutrition information can be really overwhelming, really confusing. And so we really make it a priority to make our information really accessible, well organized, fun to read through. We have cute little dairy doodles we like to scatter throughout that are very kid friendly. And as Mara's mentioned too, we provide all of our materials in both English and Spanish. So you can really think of us as your go-to local experts on anything dairy related. If you have a question about cow's milk, its nutritional value, maybe you want to look up recipes, its role in health, anything, you can come to our platforms and get that information free of charge.
That's so awesome. Such fantastic resources for the community. Very important for us to have. Thank you. So we serve a diverse and vulnerable community. So I'd like you or I'd like to ask you to share what you can about the recent research on dairy's role in addressing health disparities, as well as its role with children's growth and development.
Yeah, this is a great question, and the Dairy Council takes pride in addressing health disparities through dairy, especially in the youth wellness realm. And there's 2 points that I want to touch on, but the first one is that dairy foods provide practical and affordable nutrition to help Americans achieve health and wellness across a lifespan. Dairy products provide a unique nutritional package of up to 13 essential nutrients, including protein, vitamin D, calcium, that can really help close many nutrient gaps experienced by Americans today. And like Delancey said, there has also been research addressing the first 1,000 days of life as it being a crucial time for growth and development. And the way that dairy plays a role here is due to milk, again, containing those 13 essential nutrients, including vitamin B12 and iodine, which are key nutrients for an optimal cognitive development. Dairy foods can also support adequate growth and development, and they can do that by providing the calories, the macronutrients, the fats, the protein, the carbs to fuel them, as well as important nutrients like vitamin B12. They can also assist in bone health by providing nutrients like calcium, vitamin D, protein, phosphorus, and they also play a role in immunity by providing protein, vitamin A, vitamin B12, vitamin D, zinc, selenium, which all important to immune health. And so as we can see here, the health and nutritional benefits attached to the consumption of dairy products can be hard to compete with when we talk about beverage options out in the market, but another way that our team addresses health disparities is by our focus on culture. Cultural appropriate dairy foods consumption as part of a healthy eating diet plays a huge role in Americans across diverse racial and ethnic groups to help them achieve health and wellness. We know that dairy food consumption is associated with
Mhm.
health benefits in Americans across diverse racial and ethnic groups. But what
Mhm.
makes dairy products great, besides their nutritional value, is that they're also versatile in both flavor and texture, which makes them really easy to integrate among different cultures and are also well liked among all groups. And I like to point out as well that there are diverse national health organizations. They recognize the importance of consuming dairy foods for optimal health.
Mhm.
And they have provided recommendations on dairy food consumptions that generally aligns with the dietary guidelines of Americans. And they focus on different ages, races, and ethnicities. And I'd like to highlight two of them. The first one is the American Academy of Pediatrics. They recommend cow's milk and water as the go-to beverages for young children. And this is to achieve optimal health benefits during this crucial time of growth and development. And they also recognize 14 nutrients as being key for early brain development. And dairy foods actually provide 7 of them, which is incredible for a single food group. And the second organization that I'd like to highlight is the National Medical Association. They have released an updated evidence-based guidance on the role of dairy foods for Black Americans. And this was released in April of 2024, earlier this year, where they recommend meeting the dietary guidelines of Americans' recommended daily servings for dairy foods as an evidence-based strategy to improve the health and the wellness of Black Americans across the lifespan. And there are many other organizations that also provide their dietary recommendations for dairy products, and these all contribute to address health disparities in our country.
Oh, great to hear. Thanks for clearing that up on how dairy can play an influential role towards the development of children. So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the health benefits of dairy. Many people have strong opinions about dairy, especially with the rise in plant-based alternatives. What's your take on the role dairy can play in a healthy diet?
Yeah, absolutely. We understand it can be a major challenge in the grocery store. In today's age, there's a lot of information coming at you, a lot of misinformation as well
Mhm.
coming at families going around that can really confuse the decision-making process when they're trying to eat healthy. Do you go plant-based? Do you stick with cow's milk? What's important to remember is at this time, fortified soy milk is going to be the only plant-based alternative recommended for children 5 years old and under.
Okay.
And that's only the case if children have a true milk allergy. And milk allergy, it's different from lactose intolerance. Sometimes people like to mix the two together or think they're interchangeable.
Mm.
A true milk allergy is going to be dealing with the immune system, and that's only going to affect around 2 to 3% of kids, and some even age out of it as they grow
Mm.
older.
Okay.
Um, Also important to note is that plant-based alternatives and cow's milk contain different nutritional profiles. They are not interchangeable. And in fact, plant-based alternatives brands have different nutritional profiles and they're not interchangeable. We have a really great milk comparison chart on our website, nevadamilk.com. If listeners want to check it out, it really breaks down how much protein, carbohydrates, iodine, vitamin D, all those great nutrients that Mara had mentioned, how much is in an average glass of cow's milk versus the average glass of a plant-based alternative. And it's pretty eye-opening. So definitely be sure to check that out. Listeners can print that off and have it as a guide in their kitchen, or maybe when they go grocery shopping. At the end of the day, only real cow's milk is going to have naturally occurring calcium, high quality protein, and less than 5 ingredients. It's also super cost effective, packs up to 13 essential nutrients, so a major nutritional bang for your buck. And that ties into another great point, how versatile dairy is. You're not limited to just drinking cow's milk or adding it to cereal. You can also add dairy to cream sauces, to oatmeals, soups, smoothies, puddings, mashed potatoes.
Yum,
Very
yum.
versatile, and you're going to get all those nutrients. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I feel like dairy just makes eating healthy a much easier, more accessible goal for young families. So that's just always something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I mean, that's super helpful to know too, you know. I think people are often looking for, ways to incorporate healthy foods into their daily lives. So it's great to understand that, dairy can play an important role in that. It's pretty cool. On the flip side, though, are there any, misconceptions about dairy that you think we should address?
Yeah, this is a great question. And
Mhm.
one big misconception that we often hear working at the Dairy Council revolves around lactose intolerance. And it's funny because it's not often spoken about lactose-free dairy as an option for people with lactose intolerance, although they are gaining more popularity among consumers, which is great because with lactose-free products, you get all the nutrition, just not the lactose. But going back to lactose intolerance itself, I'd like to mention that it's rather a gradient. It's not black and white. And this is because it depends on the number of enzymes we have to break down the
Mhm.
lactose into simple sugars. And so in turn, we can be very sensitive to dairy products or not as sensitive. And this is important to remember because dairy products themselves have different amount of lactose too. And therefore, people can still consume dairy products, even if they're lactose intolerant. They just have to be strategic about it. And I'll give you some examples. Lactose-free milk, like Fairlife, they commit to have the same delicious flavor and nutritional package that regular milk has to offer, just without the lactose. So consumers who buy it can be confident to enjoy the benefits of dairy just without the GI distress. But other dairy products like yogurt with probiotics, they can provide, they tend to be more gentle on the GI tract due to the bacteria breaking down some of the lactose. There are also hard cheeses. They tend to be naturally lower in lactose. And as the Dairy Council of Nevada, of course, we have plenty of tools available to help consumer and health professionals with this information. So if anybody's interested in checking them out, they can also find them on our website. But there's another misconception that I'd like to talk about that we often hear, especially from our health professional partners. And it is the fact that their clients believe that there is a nutritional difference between regular milk and organic milk.
Mm.
And I'd like to start off by saying that the term organic in dairy products refer to the farm practices themselves. One good example of these practices is like the time that the cows spend out on the pasture. And so if you're purchasing organic dairy products, the consumer is supporting the farming style rather than obtaining any additional nutritional benefits. We know that WIC covers regular dairy and milk products, and so WIC recipient moms can be confident that they're getting the same nutritional package, just consuming conventional milk.
That's awesome. Thanks for clearing that up. Now let's talk about the future, right? What's next for the Dairy Council of Nevada, and how can families find the resources and great information that you provide? You touched on there a little bit, but just kind of bring it back up.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, you can easily find us on nevadamilk.com, and we are all over social media too. We're going to be most active on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Nevada Milk. As we mentioned, you're going to find handouts, blog posts, and more on all the topics we mentioned today. Looking ahead, just because we're heading into the holiday season, I feel like we have a lot of exciting upcoming seasonal events throughout the Las Vegas Valley. So be sure to keep your eyes peeled for us if one of the families you're ever out and about. We love interacting with the community, and we really take the time to teach nutrition through hands-on learning experiences. So we do a lot online, but we also take the time to get out into the community, meet with people face to face. We plan on sharing lots of information on how to enjoy dairy during the holidays and how to make healthy choices for your family during this time. So if you do spot us out in the community, be sure to also bring a camera. We typically bring out our mascot, Daisy the cow. She loves interacting with kids. She's a big hit. So we try to bring her out as much as we can. And you're always free to come up to Mara and I. It's always going to be us out in the community, so you can come and chat and share your questions with us.
That's so cool. What a bright future. So before we wrap it up, is there anything else you'd like for our listeners to know about the Dairy Council of Nevada or dairy in general?
Yeah, well, first, we want to thank you so much for having the Dairy Council join you on today's podcast. It's been lovely chatting with you and getting to talk all things dairy. But I'd also like to emphasize the commitment that dairy farmers from our country and our state have to the health and wellness of consumers to ensure that the milk, the cheese, the yogurt, and any other dairy product out in the market is of the best quality. It contains the most nutrition and is accessible to the community. That said, we're so proud to represent them in the community and bring the latest research to our health professional partners and families. So like Delancey mentioned too, if anybody's interested in learning more about dairy, our services, or just simply have a question, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to chat. But thank you so much again for having us today.
Delancey Amar, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. It's been a pleasure learning more about the Dairy Council in Nevada. And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. We hope you learned something new today about the Dairy Council of Nevada, be sure to check out the Dairy Council of Nevada's website for more information and resources. We'll be sure to add the information they've shared at the end of this episode. So until next time, stay safe, healthy, and take care out there. Thank you.